Okano ewusia and then so asofo chairman masamba bio me de Okano dwumedie e na ebrewo na ene adesuade na mu do or say how to prolong the lifespan of a car. How to prolong the lifespan of a car. Ma mentwa me homra na me ne abenefo entenase. Na yendu mosuko na yehu enuema esese me nu mienu yeye na ema car na ya tisika boden e de ato no etumi ache e de amayen. Me kwa kwaje aboafo nkrato no. Bomode se obe like video no, obe share na wa subscribe. Udu comment section ho a chiro bibi to ho ma me. What you say me ba na yetumi esua ade. Me din dia sofo chairman ma we mfi bitwa me ho aba me ba ye betenas.
Esan badwuma me yenti enkane asime so obribia enu nti eho hia sa me bɔ mani ho ban na bra me de me ho bɔ Frederick I care for no nyame animu ne ɔhaw bia na ekoso ɛwɔ mani ne ho no ene ni nyina to atwa yare bɛyi ena ekoso ɛwɔ wani sɛ ye glaucoma ete ana wani ena ayɛ kokɔ ana wani ena wo posa no be American de ama o ɛyɛ Frederick I care womo ena ɛwɔ mfidie a yɛde hwehwɛ ani ene yɛwɔ frames awodoɔ ya enuro yɛde begum ɛde ama wo de yɛ ka ne sɛ space no de wo pɛ bia bi no Frederick I care for womo obi.
Can you see what the Lord has done? What we waited for has come to pass. See what the Lord has done.
Me wakwaba eba Okano dwumedie so ebusia me gidi se obia ho ye ewo bebia wo a wo hwe me pa cha obomode se wo be share link no ama obi wa like na woja wo comment ewo comment section ho me pa cha wo asem bi se bia wo de to a eba be yiwa no me pa cha obomode se wo be frɛ obi na waka che ne se asofo chiame enen so matenase ye be twetwe nkomo afa ye hyen ye kasa hodo a ye yusu me pa cha nipa bia yusu ka nea oni ka ono ankasa ato no ebia na otwi obi ka wonso a wontwi obi ka ebi kura wontra sti achida me pa cho onso ofro ka esane se ye daada dwumedi a yedie no eye ka ena ede ye nko ena ede ye mba ye pese yesua ade ewo wo ka ne dwumedi so se de be ye beboa me na boa wo na ate akwanhia hodo ene nwema bi a yennim emfa ehyen ho no yebehu na etumi aboa ye mienu nyina ewade nhiraw no ye okese se ene wonya adaje na ohwe wo ka no dwumedi ene me no etwetwe nkomo efri the I garage enkomo twetwe no mini CEO of the I garage ena ebetwetwe nkomo ben ne yebetwetwe no ene me pese yesua ade efa kwan a say ye to car ye be maka no etumi ache obroni say how to prolong the lifespan of my vehicle what to car ye pese ye hwe say car na wato no ubetumi ahwe so ama na che ubetumi ahwe car no so we use na aboaw emretenten mu ana eno na ene yaba the I garage ye ni enimdifo obetwetwe nkomo na omoma yehu enwema baako mienu a esese yeye no wo car no ho na etumi aboa se de be ya car no the lifespan no ebetumi a prolong no enu nti ene me ne CEO ena ebetwetwe enkomo the CEO of the I garage. Dada, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Been a long time.
Yes.
The I garage. Please your name. Okay, so you look into the camera and then you tell my people your name.
My name is Kosi Dagwe.
Kosi Dagwe.
Good afternoon to everybody who is watching or listening to us from your various locations.
So, it was your phone. Didn't know about it. Na eneno mene director Mr. Kosi Dagwe. Aha. Mene no yen komo no. Ebe ye brofo ni twi. Enti mpacho nenti a eye saa ne se. Ye nuanum binum wa amanone a omohwe omani agi program no ho a omo nso omudi ekire ye de local dialect ye twi no eya they do not understand and then me mix no what I say te ya na odi achem so Since we are here in the I garage, somebody may ask, what do they do over there when you hear the I garage? Do they sell cars? Do they repair cars? Do they mold cars? So you just summarize your services to our viewers, our listeners, and myself.
Thank you very much. So the iGarage is basically into car servicing and repairs. That is one of them. We are also into training of both technicians and car users. Car users, I mean drivers. Technicians, either those who have finished higher learning of education, that's the technical schools, the technical universities, or the universities themselves who want to go into or who have studied automobile engineering, but do not have the practical know-how. So they have done the theory and they want to kind of do the hands-on so that they could become employable or they can become employers themselves. So we are into training of such people. Then we are also kind of trying to do some embedded systems. It's like to kind of be able to communicate with the vehicles even when they are not in our premises, because our focus is to be of more of predictive and preventive maintenance. So the vehicle doesn't need to come to our garage before we know what is happening to it. You know, we are in the age of AI, artificial intelligence, and all those things. So we are going ahead to be able to kind of communicate with the vehicles, kind of preempt issues before they become, or identify risks before they become risks. So, but like in summary, we are into car service, anything cars, electricals, mechanical issues, air conditioning issues, body and paint, iGarage is the place to come.
Okay. And abusia eno na director aka no me pacho omoye car ho adwuma bibi e fa wo car ho bia se opese wo spray car no se opese osesa car no ne mood opese osesa wo engine opese oye overhauling opese o service wo car opese oye bibia ade bia opese oye car ho bia wo ba the iGarage wo betumi aboa wo me pacho ansa ne ye bebu awura adwumadi ne mo no se opese wo so dwumadi na sene na uma dwumadi no ekonkan na eboa afofora pacho obefrɛ mpenifo na mesi no gu screen ase obefrɛ na one atwetwe enkomo 0249 590427 0249 590427 woni atwetwe enkomo na yetumi abawaso na waboa yen aso dwumadi na ase e de amaye. So that's may we know the location of the iGarage?
Yes, please. iGarage is located at Adenta Frafra, precisely on the Adenta Dodowa Road, just about a kilometer and a half from the Adenta barrier if you are driving into the Dodowa Road. There is a place called Mante Farms. We are located 50 meters on the left away from the junction if you are driving from the Adenta direction.
So, as a businessman, as a layman, as a civilian, I have been able to purchase a car at a very high cost. How are you going to prolong the lifespan of the car? Can you briefly take us through? Certain things I, as a layman, a businessman, somebody who has no idea about car servicing, how do I prolong the lifespan of my newly purchased car?
So thank you very much. So we have two different types of vehicle acquisition, especially here in Ghana. That's vehicles that are acquired as an already used vehicle, or brand new vehicles. Okay. So depending on which type of vehicle you are acquiring, I think for our location, most of our vehicles in the neighborhood of 60 to 70% are what we call home use vehicles. So we'll put a lot of attention on those vehicles because if you are going to a brand new vehicles are vehicles that haven't been used or exactly, so at least they don't come with certain risks. But if you are going to buy a home use vehicle, even before you acquire the vehicle or you become the owner of the vehicle, you need to make certain decisions that will, at the end of the day, translate into prolonging that lifespan of the vehicle. Because if you have a vehicle that has not been checked very well, you may be inheriting problems from the previous owner, which is going to shorten the lifespan of that vehicle that you are rather seeking to prolong. So the first thing is, if you're a layman, let's say you haven't had any experience with vehicle before, the thing is to identify a good technician or a good mechanic who he himself understands the dynamics or the working principles of a vehicle, and to be able to identify or kind of troubleshoot a good or a bad vehicle. So once you identify that person, the person kind of, and also it depends on the usage or the need for the vehicle. Every person who plans to have a vehicle or own a vehicle may have a certain need, and you need to prioritize your needs. Which of them? Is it a vehicle that I want to use for maybe just town riding? Is it a vehicle I want to use for highway drive? Is it a vehicle I want to use for haulage of goods and other products? Is it a vehicle I want to use on a farm or whatever? So all those things depend or determine what kind of vehicle you will acquire. For instance, if you live in a very rough terrain and you are going to have a vehicle that has a very low clearance, already you have set up yourself for failure. You understand? Because you live in a place that is not tarred. When it rains, there's a lot of problems. The terrain is not good. So you have to kind of look for an off-road vehicle. You understand? So you need to make certain initial decisions that will kind of help you even before you acquire the vehicle. So the use for the vehicle or the need for the vehicle is very important.
So depending on the communities we live in, we look at our roads, our community, before we even decide as to buying a car that is very down or a car that has a high. Okay.
Exactly. And also what are you going to be using the vehicle for? Okay. Am I the type that maybe I just started and I'm into construction? So when I get up in the morning, I have to pick cement, I have to pick other construction materials into a vehicle. Then a sedan type of vehicle, that's what the thing we call saloon cars or whatever, it's not good for you for that kind of thing. I may advise you look for something like a truck or a pickup so that it can help, because those ones are robust and can help you. So if you are going to be working on the farm or you are a construction guy, people call you to come to site, people call you to come and inspect projects for them. You don't want to go in for a saloon car because newly constructed areas, the roads are not good, the terrains are not good. So then you may be overutilizing the assets and you will shorten the lifespan. So where you live, what you are going to use the vehicle for, and also whether you are a first-time user or you have an experience with a vehicle also matters. Because for a first-time user, you have no idea about vehicle, and you can't depend on the mechanic every time, because if you are not lucky and you fall in the hands of a very bad mechanic, he may give you wrong advices that might shorten the lifespan of that vehicle. Okay. So we advise people, if you are a new driver, first-time vehicle owner, you kind of shy away from certain vehicles until you develop that experience and you are driving, you can listen to the vehicle, you can smell the vehicle or whatever, then you can start going for certain vehicles.
Before you continue with the next point, it means we've had about 3 things we need to do to prolong the lifespan. That is, 1, we look at our community where we are living, our roads, before we decide which car to buy. Exactly. Secondly, not to use the car for
what it's not designed for.
Okay, so like using a saloon car, you use the name sedan. Good. Saloon car no. Yes, about the sedan. The patcho, yes, answer na beto car no. Shape baby a what? Shawa quine. Say quine ye. erosion ni ade nsuo to a hot sen ansa we hu car obeto se wo to car e wo fom ana wo to de a e wo soro se de be ye be boa wo san to car na emfa car no enye ne ense se wo de ye ukura saloon car ukura sedan car se ne etie ketwa car ye de flex a chilling car a boiling car now they fast cement wako wasifie na yakoto bidie na opasa wo impress wasenti now they sedan car na kofa bidie krache yese me nka nkire wo se jai enye uku car no is that not it?
Exactly.
So the next one.
Then the next one thing that you say, sometimes you have a certain bulk money.
Okay.
You also need to look at your source of income, whether you have that continuous flow of income to be able to take care of the vehicle. Let's say, for instance, I just won the lottery or I won one contract, then I've gone for a high-end vehicle. Now I'm going to be keeping that vehicle for a certain duration. How do I keep that vehicle on the road? So you say that you acquired a vehicle, but then the subsequent things you have to do on the vehicle, it's like the routine servicing, you are not able to do that because the source of income is not regular or it has cut, but you still want to kind of maintain that or keep that vehicle. So what it means is you'll be skipping your maintenance schedules, and it's like at the end of the day, it's just a matter of time, then that car will break down. So you have to, it's like you need to live within your means when it comes to vehicle acquisition. Don't go for a vehicle that will kind of stretch you when it comes to finances. So you should have a vehicle that when it's time for its servicing, it's like the cash is there for you to be able to service it. So it's also very important.
So before we go to the next point, what should be the longest period for a car to be serviced?
Because of our environment here, so the service, there are different things that I will go into that shortly.
Okay.
So there are different things that constitute car servicing. So depending on what you want to do, the schedule or the duration is there. For instance, when you want engine oil change, mostly you want to do engine oil change every 3 months here in Ghana because of our weather and the type of oils we have in the system. So at minimum every 3 months you have to do oil servicing. When it comes to transmission oil or fluid, or what we normally call gearbox oil, especially for the automatic transmission vehicles. It depends on the vehicle manufacturer. Some will tell you, those ones come in mileage, not duration specifically. So some will tell you 60,000 kilometers, for instance, that is for Toyota vehicles. The GMs, you could push them to about 80,000 kilometers, 90,000 kilometers. So depending on the vehicle, everything is spelled out in the auto manufacturer's maintenance schedule.
That's good. And Tiabusia, say, unye sika puduobi prekupe na de koto car na make sure say o hwe baby a unya usika free. Sika no eba bosumi bia unya na wotwe bia unya ansa waka se me kotoka na se bia wakotwa loto no wedi loto se bum e bia obi a che usika bi unya ya wase me kotoka pacho okotoka ni wi a car no ete se wakoware e bia bebo akoma sana ade ne tie nti na yesa wo soro ya na wo toka timpacho e ya na ya hwe esika sam yie ansa ya toka emrantie na ye ba na afefe de enti ye de yehu wi ne nnuama bi mo pampe ya ye hwe esika sam yie ansa ya toka esa wo de ba ha aso be esa wo san oil uniska be to oil esa wo to filter uniska e be nden esa wo se ka na anasa nti se na be ya wo ka no ebetumi ache nti na ma ye kasa e de akere wo aha. So I think our people are very interested in the way the conversation is going. But then with this getting the money in bulk buying a car without looking at your finances, without looking at where you get your incomes. Someone has already made such a mistake. What should a person do?
So that's a very difficult one to deal with, because once the car still stays with you, you have to keep up to the schedule. Otherwise, that car breaks down and you can't even sell it off and get any value for it. So personally, if you have a vehicle and you can't maintain it, you can't keep to the maintenance lesson, why don't downgrade or maybe sell off that vehicle, acquire a vehicle that is within your financials in terms of maintenance, so that you don't stress yourself, because there's no point driving a high-end vehicle that you can't maintain, and maybe 6 months, 1 year, the vehicle breaks down and you come back to the street walking. But if you kind of sell off that vehicle and maybe just get something that is within your means and you can take care of it until such a raining day or such a good day that maybe your finances have improved, then you can climb up to that level. I think that should be my advice to such people.
All right, so I think that's best. So I think we are now on the maintenance, that is the servicing. If you don't have money, you don't check your finances, servicing the car will be a problem. Yeah, so these are some of the things we should look at before we even purchase the car. Yes, so now one has gone to buy the car already. So what are the things that someone owning a car, I am now owning a car, I have bought the car myself, it's in my possession, it is mine. What are some of the things I have to do on daily basis to prolong the lifespan of the vehicle?
Okay, thank you. I think before we get to owning the car, at the point of owning the car, we also have to do something. Okay. Before we go to when the vehicle now becomes yours. So at the point of owning the vehicle, you need to identify a very good technician, a very good workshop, just like the iGarage we do for people all the time, so that that vehicle will thoroughly be examined, because you don't need to buy a vehicle with inherited problems. Because once money has exchanged hands, it's difficult for you to go back to the car owner or the previous owner and tell him that, oh, I've just driven the vehicle for 3 days, 1 week, and all these problems have surfaced. People will not be that reasonable to say, okay, I'll help you to solve it, or I will give your money back to you. So you don't want to. I've seen vehicles that have been newly acquired 1 week, 2 weeks, with gearbox problems, sometimes in the region of 25,000 and above. So you have already paid for your car. Now you have to spend colossal amount of money to be able to do that repair, which you should have avoided. So you need to kind of get in touch with a good technician, a good workshop to do that thorough examination for you. You see, most times it's quite, the irony is somebody has about 200, 300,000 to pay for a car. But when you ask the person, okay, pay 1,500, 2,000 or whatever for a technician to examine that vehicle for you very well and ensure that the car is in good condition before you acquire, that one is too expensive. You understand? So this guy, you can't beat the system. So you hurriedly go and buy this vehicle, then within a shorter duration, it starts giving you problems. The technician will kind of still take the money that you previously had avoided. So please, let's be smart.
This is Ghana. Now,
yeah, that might have saved you from spending 10,000, 20,000 or whatever on a problem that was already existing on the car. So yes, because it's ignorant. Yeah.
If someone should come to the iGarage and says, I want to buy a car, I need a mechanic or somebody from the iGarage to go and service the car, look at the car, whether it's in a good shape or it's in a good condition to buy. And then you release someone for me. we go and the car is not in a good shape, I have paid 2,000. So if I am taking the same person to a different garage to inspect another car, do I have to pay another 2,000? Or even if I'm taking him to 5 garages to inspect a car for me, it still fall within the payment I have done?
So there are certain things we'll do. Sometimes we use consumables. So if I inspect one vehicle for you and I've exhausted that, I go to the next vehicle, I have to exhaust that and all those things. Or even work, man hours. I inspect this vehicle for you. Let's say I'm charging you for man hours, 1 hour, a certain amount. So we spent 1 hour or 2 hours on car number A, and I advise you that that car is not good. Then we go to car number or car B, and we spend the same man hour or whatever. Obviously, you have to pay for the 2 services rendered, but this is when we need to kind of make some allowances. So we can come and say, okay, beyond 2 inspections, or if we have to do only 1 inspection, this is how much it costs. So every other inspection, you don't need to pay for the full distance, but maybe there's a transportation cost involved. There are some other costs that will get incurred as we move, you understand? So we'll come to that compromise that, okay, you pay 2,000 first, but subsequent inspections, you don't have to pay 2,000. Maybe you just pay 500 or whatever. Or somebody can say, okay, I intend inspecting 5 vehicles before making a decision. You understand? So that 5 vehicles, is unreasonable to charge me 2,000 for each of the 5 vehicles. So let's come to a certain agreed amount that if we inspect the 5 vehicles, then it will fall within that premise. You understand? So it's all about discussion. You need that proud discussion so that each party involved will agree on what is going to be done before it starts.
So I think that's very good. But as to paying to each car, that is why people will say it is expensive. Yes, because if this is the car I'm going to buy and then we come and it goes well, that, oh, the car is good, it's in a good shape, it's in a good condition, you can buy, then I think paying that amount, I'm cool. But when it comes to an end that it's not good, don't buy, then I have to pay that amount. Then I go to another, yes. So I think we will continue on from that. Yes. So getting someone to inspect the car for you is also another point that we have to look at before buying the car itself. Good. Is there any other thing we have to look at before buying the car?
Badjuma me yenti enkane asime so obribia enunti eho hia sa me bɔ mani ho ban na bra me de me ho bɔ Frederick I care for no nyame animu ne ɔhaw bia na ekoso ɛwɔ mani ne ho no ɛne ne nyina to atwa yare bɛyi ɛna ekoso ɛwɔ wani sɛ ye glaucoma ɛtɛ ana wani ɛna ayɛ kɔkɔ ana wani ɛna wo posa no be amekamfo de ama wo ɛyɛ Frederick I care wɔmo ɛna ɛwɔ mfidie a yɛde hyehyɛ ani ɛne yɛwɔ frames awodoɔ yɛ enuro yɛde begum ɛde ama wo deɛ yɛka ne sɛ space no deɛ wo pɛ bia bi no Frederick I care for wɔmo obi.
Can you see what the Lord has done? What we waited for has come to pass. See what the Lord has done.
Hello, this is Okano, and my name is Ebenezer Lankai, the product manager of GLA. In our day-to-day activity, movement is an essential to every human being. That is why we need the help of a car. We need to check our engines, because without the engine, the car goes nowhere. And today, we bring you no other than GLA Graphene Engine Oil Additive. If you want to know more about GLA, then stay glued to your TV set and we'll come back with some of the benefits to enhance your engine lubricity and everything you need to know. Thank you. Gile is a graphene layer coating that has been manufactured in Korea. And in Ghana, West Africa, Nanotech Ventures are the sole distributors of Gile graphene oil here in Ghana and Africa as a whole. Now, when we say Gile, Gile has a material component called graphene, which is being replicated in the product that helps to enhance your engine. Some of the benefits of using Gile graphene engine oil are:
using Gile provides smoother and quieter engine with more power and better performance. You can save fuel up to 8 to 17%, then when in idle mode, saves up to 40%. Gile lowers noise and vibration levels 5 times more. It restores friction surfaces and protects against wear and tear in the engine. It lasts up to 30,000 kilometers and can be repeated time after time. Gile the life of your engine by protecting and restoring critical mechanical parts. 100-time reduction of the friction coefficient. Gile increase oil pressure and greater combustibility. It brings engine power up to 100%. Gile reduces engine heat up to 21%. 3 to 9 times reduction in CO and CH in the exhaust. It is safe for the environment with reduced pollution of 78%. It increases pickup. It reduces pollution and increases mileage. It increases hours of usage. Diesel and petrol engine compatibility. Compatible with all types of engine oil. Gile is not harmful to your engine. It's certified by top brands.
When it comes to Gile graphene engine oil additive, we have 2 types, the red one and the green one. The green one is from any engine that has less than 600 capacity. An example could be a tricycle or a motorbike or a jet ski or any engine that is less than 600 capacity. We will use the green one, the Gile graphene engine oil, the green one. And any engine from a saloon car to a truck, any car that uses from 4 liters to 10 liter engine, we will use the red one. Now, when it comes to Gile, there are instructions that you need to follow on how to use Gile graphene engine oil additive. Now, let us show you how to use your Gile.
This is how to use Gile Universal Restorer for smaller engines and mechanisms. For smaller engine, less than any types of 600cc engine, motorbike, 3-wheeler, any type of metallic mechanism compressor, bearing, gearbox, transmission case, differential, power steering, various kinds of machine tool convoy belt, and many more. This is how to apply. Warm up engine and shake Gile enough before injection. Open oil filter cap and inject Gile into engine oil. Close oil cap. Available to be injected in any type of engine oil. For any type of engine available, petrol, diesel, and CNG. Add 130 ml pouch AIO into engine oil tank for 4 to 10 liter oil capacity. Application method. Warm up engine and shake Gile enough before injection. Open oil filter cap and inject Gile into engine oil. Then close oil cap. Available to be injected in any type of engine oil.
Note that Gile graphene engine oil is no respecter of engine. Any engine you can use Gile. Any car you can use Gile. Any mechanism you can use Gile. Every engine that has to do with oil you can use Gile. Now let's show you how lubricity happens in our engine. A cross section of that. Now that's our engine. You can see our strainer, you can see our belt, our sump, you can see our oil. Now this is what happens. Before, the blue indication indicates the oil. Now you can see the strainer is straining the oil from the bottom of the engine, and you can see it's passing through. It's passing through. But remember, before the oil gets to the top, friction is already happening. So you could see the oil compressor or the oil pressure regulator goes into the oil filter. Note that before the oil gets to the pistons, the engine is already started and it's working. This is some of the things that contribute in the wearing of the engine because friction is happening. But before the filter will finish its work and now strain it to get to the spout, the engines are already working. The pistons are already going up and down. Friction is already happening. It's going now. You could see it's at the crankshaft area. Now it's being supplied. You could see the yellow indication that now the oil is being circulated on the crankshaft, contributing to reduce friction and also wearing and tearing. They are already working. You could see the spout is also spraying on the piston and rings just to reduce friction, because when friction happens, the piston damages and that affects the engine, because the heart of every engine is the crankshaft and the pistons. And in the pistons, that is where the fuel consumption happens, because at the top there is an outlet that shows the intake of fuel. Then there's another outlet that indicates the outlet, which is the exhaust. So all these things are happening simultaneously just to reduce friction. Now, when you apply Chile in your oil, you could note that from the beginning, oil wasn't part of the deal until it gets to the spout. Now, when you apply the Chile and the oil gets to this metal, it doesn't come down. It stays there. So anytime before the engine starts, the oil is already maintained, both at the piston levels and also at the crankshaft level, and any metal in the engine that has to or will need a lubrication, Chile goes there to maintain, so it reduces all this stuff.
Get your Gile engine oil additive wherever you are now. Call us on 0249 590 427 or 0543 613 475.
Having heard about the advantages and benefits Chile has to offer, save more money by using Chile to reduce your fuel consumption. Chile, your engine oil supplement.
Oh no, I think once those things have been done and closed.
So once the mechanic approves that this is the right car for you to buy, now you buy the car.
But the caveat there is, it must be a very good mechanic.
Sure.
Because
not any mechanic.
Yes, because the same mechanic can lead you into trouble. He might overlook something or he might not have knowledge about the thing.
Some of the mechanics even have connections with the one selling the car. So he would definitely prescribe that car for you. You buy it, or he will approve it for you to buy. Then later go to the one who sold the car. That's my Jumani. Yeah, so we look at a very good mechanic, and it should even be your own mechanic.
Exactly, I was going to say that. A trusted mechanic, somebody you know, somebody who will seek your interest, not the interest of the other party. Yes.
Okay. So now the mechanic approved. I bought the car. The car is home now. It is now mine.
Exactly.
Good. We centered on home use vehicles. When we buy those cars, I am using a car. My brother comes to buy from me. Those paperwork, how does it go? Because the car is mine. I have my name on the papers. It's been registered in my name. Now a friend comes to buy. Do we have to go do a change of ownership and stuff, or I just have to?
No. So it's in the best interest of either parties to do the change of ownership.
Okay.
You understand? Because, for instance, sometimes when it's time for that car gets involved in an accident or something, and it's time for even insurance claim. Maybe the person who acquired you acquired a vehicle from the person is not there or has traveled. So the insurance may even want to process the vehicle in the previous owner's name. So the check will be written in his name or whatever, which you've paid for. And there could also be some issues with the law, or maybe you want to use that car for collateral. You understand? You go to the bank, okay, this is a collateral, and you are hot, but the car papers are not in your name. Nobody will mind you. It will be a problem. So, or the person, that vehicle has been involved in a crime. You see, in a developed country, they can just use their name plate, or what we call number plates here, to identify the owner of the vehicle. So you are sleeping in your room, and they said they have used that vehicle to rob a bank, and the name plate has been captured and the owner traced from the DVLA database. So you are there, then they come for you. Exactly. If you are not careful, you take some few slaps before they will get to know. before they will get to know the vehicle had already exchanged hands. Yeah, exactly. So once you sell it out, wash your hands out of it.
Just by the way. So now I have got a car. I have got a car.
Yeah.
So what are the normal things that I have to do as the owner of the car now to prolong the lifespan of my car?
Good. So once the car has arrived home now, the first thing we normally will be concerned about is the maintenance history of that vehicle. But that is not very common here to get in our part of the world. Okay, I'm acquiring the car, or I've acquired the car at the time the vehicle has done about 80,000 kilometers. So at that 80,000 kilometers, there were certain things that might have been, or that were recommended from even 1 kilometer all the way to the 80,000 kilometers. How sure am I that all those things have been taken care of? Because if they have been skipped, for instance, you have acquired a Toyota vehicle at 65,000 kilometers. Meanwhile, the maintenance schedule is telling you at 60,000 kilometers, you should have changed the transmission oil. And the vehicle is coming to you at 65 or 63,000 kilometers. Now, the conflict here is the previous owner at 60,000 kilometers, did he do it or he didn't do it? So we need a certain kind of maintenance vehicle, maintenance history to be able to know what work has been done on the vehicle. Because when you take such a vehicle to a very good mechanic shop, like the iGarage, the first thing we'll probe is what is the mileage on the vehicle. Then we'll kind of query the maintenance schedule to see, okay, at this mileage, what are the items that needed to be done? And what are the items that should have been done previously before the vehicle reaches here? We do all these things to ensure that we don't meet any surprises down the road. So if we don't have any kind of maintenance history on the vehicle, then it is best, because some of the items are repetitive. Some of them are one time within that space of time or mileage. So the ones that are repetitive will not be so much concerned. They say change oil every 3 kilometers. We will know that, okay, the oil might have been changed, or even if the oil hasn't been changed, it's a repetitive action. So doing it at that point wouldn't hurt anything. But something that should have been done maybe once within that mileage or duration, so we don't have the history. So to play it safe or to be on the safe side, then we will say that then let's do it. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt.
But I'm coming. We are looking at home use car.
Exactly.
Now, is there any? I do hear people say Ghana use, home use. Now, which one are we talking about? Is it that I have used the car here in Ghana, I've sold it for a brother or a friend, or it is a car that has been used in UK, in Russia, in Japan, that has been brought to Ghana?
So
which one are we talking
so
about
for
here?
the sake of simplifying our discussion, when we say used vehicle, it applies to both.
Okay.
Whether a vehicle has kind of
Ghana use the name home use. Just a home use.
Use is use, yeah.
But use, yeah.
So use is use. What makes the difference is just the condition at the point of acquisition. Okay. You understand? Yeah. So okay, when you are acquiring it in Ghana and it's changing hands from somebody who it might have already been registered, maybe the issues on it might have been more than when maybe it comes into the country fresh and you have to be the first, do the first registration. You have less issues on it, but use is use. But so this thing, what is important here is just the state of the vehicle at the point of at the mileage and other conditions at the point of acquisition. Right. Exactly.
All right. Thank you very much. Abusiafo yankomo twetwe no emu ayede yekwa achire yesua ade megidi se abo bi amane se wo ka no dwumedi ekoso ene nti omo moden se ono nso obenya bi ahwe mepa cho afeina waba dwumedi no so a like share na ja comment bi ho emaye na afi yetumi ama dwumedi no aye kra behwe abusiafo ma mentwa be homra menje aboafo nkrato me ba na yato aso. Ebusemo wakwa abase wenya adaje atwe me mama kwaje aboafo nkrato maba yeda so ewo the I garage yetwetwe enkomo ekwan a yebefa so ama ye cars ahodo ye hyen ahodo yetimi prolonging the lifespan ye car no ha eno ho enkomo na ye twetwe no eno nti ye to enkomo twetwe no so rather we go to a point where we have to check the mileage of the car itself. And then the mileage that has been used before purchasing the car. Yes, that is where we've come to the iGarage. Technicians have checked that, so we continue from there.
All right, so we have that mileage now. So all we have to do now is to go for the maintenance schedule or the manual, what we call the shop manual for that particular vehicle, and we look at all the things that must be.
So when we say maintenance manual, what is that?
So with something like, let's say, let's say a book that tells us every maintenance activity that must be performed on the vehicle, on that particular vehicle throughout its lifespan. Okay. So when the vehicle reaches this mileage, do this. When it reaches that mileage, do this. So when the people or when the auto manufacturers manufacture the vehicle, they manufacture or they also produce a book as a guide that should help the user.
So when you come to the iGarage, you have that book or that maintenance schedule for every car on earth.
For every car.
Every car on earth.
Every car. The good news is that most of those schedules are even online. Once you have a smartphone, you should be able to even download some of those things free. Some of them come at a particular fee, but most of them you can get them free. That is why we advise that every vehicle owner should at least have that schedule. It doesn't, the ones you get for free don't go into details, but at least they present you a certain idea, high-level idea as to what to be done on the vehicle. So when you go to the mechanic's shop, it's like you kind of lead the conversation. You understand? Because you are already an informed user. So when the mechanic tells you something, you don't just take it on the surface. You probe further, because sometimes at the first instance, the guy may be telling you what is not true. But if you probe further and further and he sees that no, this is an informed customer, then he will kind of backtrack on some of the conversations and you have value for money. If you go to a mechanic shop and you kind of have no idea about what is happening, then these guys are going to toss you left, right, and center. What is not even damaged, they'll ask you buy this and buy that. So that manual or that reference is on the phone, it's on the internet, everywhere. Yeah, you can get it.
All right. So now that you've gone for the maintenance manual, so we now have to check everything, every maintenance that's supposed to be done on the car. Then what next?
So once you have the schedule, or that's what we call the schedule, or the activities that must be performed on the vehicle, one to correct any issue or to prevent an issue from happening. Because as at the time you have acquired a vehicle, there may be some existing issues. So one, you are tackling those ones, and you're also doing that to also prevent anything from kind of happening before the next maintenance duration. So for instance, it is standard practice that every newly acquired vehicle, as at the time the vehicle is exchanging hands, you check your engine oil, because if you have a low or a bad engine oil in your engine, that thing will hurt your engine. You damage your bearings, and you may have to go in for engine overhaul or an engine replacement. I have seen people who have acquired vehicles within a matter of a month, they have had to change the engine, or the engine has to be worked on. The brake fluid, and this is not very common in this part of the world. People don't know that, a lot of mechanics don't even know that the brake fluid needs to be flushed out periodically, depending on because the brake fluid we say is hydroscopic. When we say something is hydroscopic in engineering, it means that the thing has a natural tendency of acquiring moisture, atmospheric moisture. So the brake fluid kind of attracts atmospheric moisture, and once the moisture level reaches a certain level, that brake fluid damages, and it damages some internal component on your brake control system or the ABS valve. So we have a machine, or we have a tool here that will also test and tell us the moisture content in the brake fluid, and will advise whether it is due for replacement or not. When you acquire a vehicle, for instance, overheating is one of the killers of a lot of engines in Ghana. So we do overheating pressure tests over here, where we are able to pressurize your coolant hoses to a certain, or to the design pressure, to see whether there's any leakage that could cause coolant or water to leak out. Obviously, we don't advise water to be used in a vehicle's cooling system anyway. So yes, water is not good to be used in the vehicle's cooling
But almost 90% of the vehicles we're using in Ghana here goes with water.
Water is not good. On my previous discussions, I always mention that once you use water as a cooling medium in your vehicle, you are just shortening the lifespan of the vehicle. We are having this discussion because we want to prolong the lifespan of vehicles. So one of the things that viewers or listeners must at least hear or resort to is, if you have water in your vehicle now, by tomorrow morning, please replace it with a coolant, because there are so many advantages that a coolant comes with that water doesn't have. So water will kind of cause internal corrosion of your cooling system, kind of fast track it, so that your cooling system will get internal. You will not even notice it from outside. Your cooling pumps will corrode, the impellers or the blades in the cooling pump will kind of get damaged, and it will not be moving the water as fast as it should move it. Then the vehicle will start experiencing overheating. Once overheating comes, pressure builds up and all the leakages and everything. And if you are a new vehicle owner and you are not very familiar with these things, the engine kind of overheats, bearing, or it starts with head gasket damage. And some vehicles, once there's a head gasket damage, you have the bottom of the engine also being affected. Like you have a bearing damage, and you are not just going in for a head gasket replacement, but you have to do a bearing work now. So water will cause you a lot of problems if you use it as a cooling medium. So please use coolant, because the coolant is oil-based. The coolant also has what we call glycol. Most of the coolants we have in Ghana are glycol-based. You see, water boils at 100 degrees under normal atmospheric pressure. But when you use coolant, coolant has additives, and the normal operating temperature for most vehicles is between 95 degrees Celsius and 105 degrees Celsius. And I've already said that water will boil at 100 degrees Celsius. So what it means is that within that range, if you are using water, the temperature is already up, and once the water itself is boiling, you are not creating any effective cooling for your vehicle, and it affects engine performance, fuel usage, and all those things. But if you use coolant, because of the glycol base of the coolant, it raises the boiling point of the coolant to about 130, 140 degrees Celsius. So it gives you an enough room for your cooling system to work effectively, unlike the water. And the glycol or the coolant also is oil-based, and we know that your coolant fan is rotating, and anything that is rotating needs to be lubricated. Otherwise, it just gets damaged with time. You get it. So those are some of the, and for we the mechanics, it is easier when you have coolant being used and there is a leakage. You know why? Because the coolant is always colored, unlike water that is colorless. So you save, it reduces the diagnostic or the troubleshooting time, and also saves us or save the user a lot of money, because the longer the troubleshooting, the more money you pay in very organized garages. So, but water is colorless, so when water is leaking, it doesn't leave any traces behind. But when you use a coolant that has color or is colored, once it is leaking at a particular place, it leaves the colored traces behind. So anybody who is kind of walking the hoses will be able to identify that, okay, there's a color here, so it means the thing is maybe leaking through here.
Okay, so water is not good, use coolant. Water is not good, use coolant. Go and open your bonnet now, take off the water, go and buy coolant. Is there any other thing?
Yes, so then we go to the transmission oil.
Okay.
So that is when the vehicle has been acquired. So you go to the transmission oil, because I have to say this, you see, it is the oil or the fluids. Let me say the fluids, because it's not, coolant is not an oil.
So I want you to take your time to talk about the oil. So let me go for commercial break. When I come back, you take a lot of time to talk about the oil, because I have heard a lot about oil. So we will have to talk about the oil. Directly do oil also. Oil need I say obi ka so sesa na yi oil na. Ese wata dey black yi. Ma menja abo afonga to be ba ye be kan no ho azem. Ebusiam wa kwa ba ze wonya me ho adaje na o ma kwa kwaje abo afonga to no ma san ba. Afi ye be kan oil no ho asem. Na me ka se mechanic shop bi a me koye na akwa bi ba so besesa no oil. Ye yi oil no. Odo nsafa engine nim kura mpo a efi a etare won nsa ho no. Data, it's not easy. So as I said, I want to give you some time to talk about the oil, because the oil is breaking down a lot of engines.
Exactly.
So I want you to talk about it now.
So just like humans, we have blood running through our body. The oils in the vehicle are important as the blood in our body. Okay. So most of the time, the vehicle normally kind of gets damaged, especially when it comes to the engine, the gearbox, or the transmission. the ABS valve or the ABS modulator. Those ones, before they get damaged, mostly it's about the oil. Either, for instance, if we take the engine.
So now you're talking about the engine oil.
So
okay.
Let's go to the engine oil first. So the engine oil, the function of the engine oil, let's look at what it does in the engine anyway. So in the engine, you have rotating parts that are turning. Okay. Yes. So for your crankshaft, which is at the bottom, your crankshaft is there with the crankshaft bearings. They are into two parts, the main bearings and the connecting rod bearings. Then the connecting rods sit on the crankshaft, which holds your piston. And your pistons come up and down for combustion to take place. So these are moving parts. And any two metals that move relative to each other or move around each other will need to be lubricated. Or they will need some form of oil so that it reduces friction. Because friction will cause heat. And once heat is generated, these metal parts could even melt or they could warp, they kind of distort, yes. So we need the oil, one, to kind of do the oil to kind of do the lubrication and also to serve as a cooling medium.
Okay.
Because the oils take away the heat from the metal parts, sends them to a component we call the heat exchanger. Either the engine oil heat exchanger or the transmission oil heat exchanger. So within the heat exchanger, all that is happening is that the oil comes from the hot component and the water at a lower temperature or the coolant at a lower temperature come there. They meet in the heat exchanger, but they don't physically meet. So if you have a breakdown 24/7, you can contact us and we will cover you. In the next few months, we will be introducing the vehicle courtesy service. What that means is that when you bring your vehicle for us, whilst your vehicle is with us, we are servicing, we are going to give you another vehicle within the duration that your vehicle is with us at a token, so that we don't inconvenience you, because we understand that some people, the livelihood depends on the vehicle. You also need the vehicle to move around and make your distance. So iGarage, we have customers not just in Accra, not just in Adenta. Because of our work, we have people who drive all the way from Wa, Takrady, Kumasi, all around Ghana to visit our shop. So please come to iGarage and have value for your money. Thank you. And you can reach us on 0244 072 003. The number again is 0244 072 003. Anything, we are good at the diagnosis. Any light, if you have light on your vehicle, warning lights, and you don't understand why those lights are there, just contact us and we'll explain to you why those lights are there. People make a joke or fun that when you come to iGarage, you are not just coming to service your vehicle, but you are also coming to learn and understand your vehicle more. So please, as already said, 0244 072 003. Contact us for any issue concerning your vehicle and we'll be the best people to resolve it for you. Thank you.
Okay. Abusia enunti eno na director achechire bibie mudi ama no wo car no e break down wo kwan so a free number no o pese obeye servicing free number no baby a wo bia wo free a ye beba na ye ba be hwew me pa cho wo car no dwumedie ana ye de brew me a me di dwumedie hu chia me din e de asofo chia me pa cho garage a ye be pie mu no eye the iGarage. My name is Mr. Osidagbe and I etwetwe nkomo the CEO of the iGarage. Ebusia ebia na uwo garage ana se uwo shop we di car hu dwuma bi uton car ade bi efa car ho o pese ye ba waso ye tese se na ya ba the iGarage na o kirekire wo nsem mu akire wiase a mepacho obefre yempenifo na wono atwe nkomo se opese oso dwumedie yasene na beebi a yebekọ bia no yebo wade tonde hu dewuro ede ma won so a mepacho onso obefre yempenifo momfre number yi na mo ni mpenifo ntwetwe nkomo 0249 590427 0249 590427 mepacho the producer Benjamin Youngson ono so no ye me DOP and afi executive producer Mr. Evans Pra mepacho ready nshira no ye okese share video ni mame subscribe na ja comment bi wase ho mame na da mesa aba no better menka me din e de asofo chiame ready nshira no ye okese pa makraw
Okano.